If you're the partner and your boyfriend or girlfriend's parents don't like you, then don't take it personal. Because sometimes it has nothing to do with you. Yeah. Sometimes it's the insecurities, it's the fears that the parents have that are unrelated to you, that no matter who your boyfriend or girlfriend brought home, they would not be happy with. Yeah. What's up, fam? Welcome back to the We Are Just Dating page. My name is Tim. This is my beautiful wife, Pauline, and you are tuning in to another episode of the W Podcast, where you get wisdom in a word with the Wheelers. Hey, so we are so excited for today's topic. We are talking about, what do you do if your parents don't like your partner? What do you do if your partner doesn't like your parents? We're talking about all of it today because it's real. There's people who have that struggle of their girlfriend doesn't like their parents, or the parents don't like the boyfriend, or vice versa. So we're going to talk all about that today. But first, make sure you subscribe to this channel. If you enjoy, if you enjoy this podcast, we would love for you to subscribe. And I think it's even a way to subscribe on Spotify and iTunes for those who listen on there. So make sure you do that as well. You're not excluded, but we would love to have you be officially a part of the fam, and it's going to be better with you here. So what is the question of the day?
Yes. So the question for today is, what tips would you give someone when their girlfriend doesn't feel comfortable with the boyfriend's parents, and the boyfriend is cool with the girlfriend's parents?
Yeah, good question. And we're going to answer this from both sides. So we're going to answer it from the girlfriend not being close or comfortable with the parents, and then from the parents not liking the girlfriend or boyfriend. Just because we know there's people who are watching this who have both realities, or they struggle with one side but not the other. So we'll make sure we touch it both. What I'll say, if your partner does not like your parents, this is what you need to do. First thing, you need to have a real honest conversation. I'm not saying, do you like my parents? Like, that's not the conversation we need to have, because you already know they don't like them. Yeah. You need to figure out why. Why do they not like them? And is it because a look? Is it because of something that was said? Mm-hmm. Is it because, what is it? Like, you need to figure out exactly what they do not like, and you need to dig into that. So you don't like how she looked at you. Why?
What about that bothered you?
Like,
how make you feel?
Get to the real issue, because once you get to the real issue, then you can truly resolve it. And you may get to a point, unfortunately, where you realize this may not work, because this person may truly just have an issue that they're not willing to work on, or they're not willing to overcome, or vice versa. And here's the thing. When you're dating somebody, you have to be willing to have uncomfortable conversations, because you can't just date somebody and be like, oh man, this has to work. Yeah. That is a bad place. If you get to a place where it has to work, then you're going to make bad decisions. If you get to a place where I want it to work, but if it doesn't, I'll be okay, that is a healthy place. Now, when I told you to ask them why they don't like your parents, you want to make sure that you don't get offended by their response. Allow them to be honest. Now, obviously, they still need to be respectful, but allow them to be fully honest, because when they're fully honest, then you'll be able to truly move forward. So make sure you don't get uptight. Make sure you don't get defensive. Just listen to what they have to say, and then you can respond. But you don't need to respond angry. You don't need to respond, well, you don't know my mama. Well, you ain't raised me. It's like, okay, like, thank you for that feedback. I appreciate you telling me that. Here is how I see it, or here's my perspective, or how can I help you with that? Like, you don't want to just say things that will escalate the conversation.
Yeah, I think it depends on what stage of the relationship you're at with this as well, because everyone meets parents at different stages. And if you are really early on in your relationship and you get to meet parents, it's going to be different than if you're like, I was thinking about proposing to this person, and now you're telling me you don't like my parents. Like, we might need to hold up a little bit. That's gonna, address it. And we do have some PDFs, a couple question PDF that is in the link below, to actually help with these type of conversations about family, just in case you don't know where to start.
Yeah, and there's what you need to do this, and it's important for you to know this for yourself. How important is it for the person you're dating to like your family? Because just being honest, we've talked to people that some people don't care. Some people like do not care. Now that may not be the wisest thing, but some people don't care about if the person they're dating likes their family or not, or vice versa. Now, you want to make sure that you can at least be cordial around the person's parents. So if they can't even be cordial, you're setting yourself up for a lifetime of pain. But if they can at least be cordial, even if they don't love their personality, it's not the people that they would choose to hang out with if they had a vacation. But can they be cordial? Can they be respectful? If that's the case, and this person is great in every other area, it may be worth it to move forward. We know people that have been married almost 20 years, and the in-law situation is not good.
Yeah, it's never going to be perfect.
But the marriage is good. So that's something that you just want to be in consideration of. And you also want to ask this person, how close do you want to be to your in-laws?
Yeah.
Because sometimes your partner may not even want to be close to your in-law, so it doesn't necessarily matter how close they are to your parents. Again, you said my girlfriend's not comfortable, so you want to figure out what is it that's causing you to be uncomfortable. Like, was there something that was said?
Right.
But outside of that,
it could be unmet expectations. Like, oh, I thought your mom was gonna love me, and it turns out, like, she doesn't. There's a lot of to unpack here, so it's a very interesting topic because it could be like, is your girlfriend or boyfriend being kind of shallow or selfish, or like how much effort did they put forth to even try to get to know your parents? Like maybe your parents are expecting more of them and they didn't get it, so they're not going to give more to, like, maybe they don't think she's going to be around for a long time. I don't know. It's a lot of different ways you could go about it. But I also think you need to put in consideration your parents. So like if your parents are not very friendly people, I think you should keep that in mind. Like, if you have to kind of prepare your partner for that as well. Like, hey, I don't know what you're expecting. Like, let's talk about expectations before you even meet my parents, and I'll let you know, like, oh, my parents, if they're super hospitable, they're always having people over, they're really excited to meet you, great. But if they're not, if they're kind of standoffish people, because not everybody's cut from the same cloth per se. Like, you may be very outgoing, but your parents are not, and like, you need to prepare your partner for that so they have right expectations. But yeah, to the point of like, she's not comfortable. I would also add that you need to find out from your girlfriend, is it both of your parents or just one of your parents that made her uncomfortable? Because that matters. That can make a big difference. You definitely need to pinpoint the when, the where, the how that this all sparked. Did it happen because something your parents said or did, or is it something that happened in your girlfriend's past even before you came around?
Yeah. No, that's good. Is there anything else you would say to somebody who they don't like somebody's parents?
Yeah, I mean, I have like some suggestions and tips that actually apply for both angles. So if it's the parents don't like the partner, or the partner doesn't like the parents. So similar to what you said, but the first point is to know the history. Have you brought home people before? And if you have, how did that go? Is that kind of setting up your girlfriend for a bad dinner with your parents because you've brought home girls before and they kind of have a sour taste in their mouth with the type of girls you date? And even for your girlfriend, like, has she met other boyfriends' parents in the past and it hasn't gone well? So you need to know the history about things and like content. It's a lot of hard conversations that you need to have and like prepare yourself for that. And then the second point is to do your research on both. So that's kind of like goes with knowing the history, but even more so doing research about like, okay, well, what does make your girlfriend feel comfortable? She said she's uncomfortable around your parents, but when is she comfortable? Is she only comfortable around her family? Is she only comfortable seeing people during the day, at night? I don't know. There's a lot of different factors in here that could contribute to that, but you need to learn that. And then same thing with your parents. If your parents don't like your girlfriend or your boyfriend, what makes them feel comfortable? What do they like? Tim actually did a really good job when he met my parents, and like he brought them like their favorite candies and snacks and a card, and like, he was serving them by like helping to move my brother into school, and that was like something that was very valuable to them because he was moving furniture and they weren't. So of course they were just like, oh, I'm so glad he's here. Like that was literally their words and their thoughts. So, find out what matters to your parents and to your boyfriend or girlfriend. And you are going to have to play mediator. Like, you need to understand your role in this. And I think that speaks to what you mentioned earlier about like, okay, let's kind of put this in long-term perspective. Like, is this gonna work out? Like, if you don't like my parents or my parents don't like you, my parents aren't going anywhere, right? So like, these are the parents that I have. I'm gonna honor them for as long as they're around, and the person that I'm gonna marry needs to honor them too. Now, to your point, that doesn't mean you have to like them and obey them, especially of course when you're married, but you do need to honor them, whatever, that's going to look different, and that needs to ascribe value to them. So I'm going to respect them. I am going to call them on their birthday. I am going to, buy their Christmas gifts and go visit them and all those things. And if that's going to bother you as my potential spouse, then like, this isn't going to work out. You know what I mean? And I also would hope that you would want to do that for your parents. And if you don't, then that kind of speaks to your character, doesn't it? So yeah, when you're gonna have to be consistent with it. That's the third point. Be consistent with your role as a mediator. You can't just have one conversation and be done with it. It's, especially if this is like an ongoing kind of feeling. Again, we don't know the history of how long your girlfriend has felt like this, or if the parents are the one who don't like the girlfriend. Like, we don't know how long this has gone on. But I feel like a lot of it, in the case where the parents don't like the girlfriend or boyfriend, it usually has a lot to it's a byproduct of your relationship with your parents. Like, do they not trust your decision-making abilities? Have you dated badly and poorly in the past? And they're like, I don't think this is a good girl. It depends, because look at the other girls how you dated. And a lot of it has to do with that. If you're still living in their house, they're going to have a lot more opinions about, who you date and how you date. So those are other factors to consider as well. But yeah, you're going to have to be consistent. And if you can't be consistent, then you probably want to evaluate this. Number one, the relationship, and also just the timing for you to date in general. Because if your parents are the problem, or if your relationship with your parents is the problem, your next girlfriend's going to feel uncomfortable as well, most likely. So you're going to have to do the work now or later, or just don't get married. I don't know, or have a healthy marriage, which obviously we don't want that option for you. But yeah, trust is important here. That's really what it sounds like. Whenever there's a relationship issue, it's usually it links back to trust. So if it's either your parents don't trust you, they don't trust the girl, you want to find out more about that. Or if your girlfriend doesn't trust your parents, that's another conversation too. Like, again, was there something said that has broken trust? Trust is built in drops, but it's broken in buckets. So even if your girlfriend had like a couple of good months of building up trust with your parents, but one thing was said that totally breaks it, that needs to be kind of considered. And then also, like, how are you talking about your parents to your girlfriend? Do you make them sound like people she wants to be around, or are you only showing her and telling her the bad parts about your parents? And you do need to be honest, of course. I'm not saying lie about how your parents are, and you do need to give a sober-minded kind of like expectation if she is considering being part of your family one day if you guys do get married. But also, you need to make sure that she knows a good person to them. But this also is a telling part too about like how gracious your partner can be, right? Because if they're just gonna focus on the bad parts of your parents, does that mean they're gonna focus only on the bad parts of you when you get married? I'm not sure. It's all interesting. And then the last point is to pray and involve mentors. Like, this is evaluation period when you're dating, and again, kind of seeing her response to things, whether if she doesn't like your parents, because I think that's a pretty bold statement, don't you think? Like, to say,
well, you said uncomfortable, but yeah.
Okay, but either way, I think you're right. The statement is she's uncomfortable around them, but I would want to know why, and there's a lot of different things, like, just do they have a different house, or living environment than what she's used to? I don't know. It's all very interesting to know that. But yeah, definitely involve your mentors, because they can give more perspective about it as well, whether it's your parents are the problem or it's really your girlfriend. But don't avoid it. That's really hopefully the main thing that you're taking away is, don't avoid the issue and just hope that it goes away and she'll start being comfortable around them.
Absolutely. Because it'll only get worse if you get married and you don't address it. I have two more things I'll share as far as what do you do if your parents don't like your partner. First thing, from the partner perspective, if you're the partner and your boyfriend or girlfriend's parents don't like you, then don't take it personal. Because sometimes it has nothing to do with you. Yeah. Sometimes it's the insecurities, it's the fears that the parents have that are unrelated to you, that no matter who your boyfriend or girlfriend brought home, they would not be happy with.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter who it is, they would not rock with them. So don't take it personal, like, oh, there's something wrong with me. Oh, I'm not enough. Yeah. No, your value is from God. Your value is in God. You are a child of God. So make sure that you're not taking this personally. Now, unless you did something, like you personally messed up and you offended the parents, then yes, you need to own up to that, apologize, repent, and move forward and try to make amends. But if you haven't done anything, please don't take it personal. Second thing I'll say is this: if you are the boyfriend or the girlfriend of the person who the parent doesn't like, you need to be praying. Yeah. Lord, please change the heart of my parents. Lord, please change the heart of their parents, and please allow them to see the goodness in my partner that I see. Show them the value that they add to my life. Yeah. We forget sometimes that this is godly dating, and the enemy is real, and he doesn't want godly relationships to form. Yeah. So any area, any door he can find to mess that up, best believe he's going to try to do it. So the Bible says that, and I actually wrote it down, it says, and I will give you a new heart, and I will put a new spirit in you. I will take out your stony, stubborn heart and give you a tender, responsive heart. So we serve a God who can turn the heart of stone and turn it into flesh. So that's something you want to make sure you remember, is that I serve a God that no matter what it looks like, he can change the outcome. So make sure that you're not getting down on yourself when you haven't even prayed and asked the Lord to get into the situation. And we've seen it before. We know couples who the dad did not rock with the son or the future son-in-law, and now they love him, and now they talk all the time. So God can do miracles, and he can do it for you. So don't miss that aspect.
Yeah, absolutely. So good.
So this has been another episode of the W Podcast. Whether your parents love your partner, whether they don't like them, whether your partner loves your parents, we hope that you found some value from this. Even if you don't have any issues with your parents, there's stuff we said in here just in general about making sure you don't avoid conflict that you need to make sure you take with you.
Yeah.
So we will see you next week on the W Podcast.
Bye.
Thanks for watching this video.
To get more Christian relationship advice, subscribe to our channel.
And make sure you check out our other videos as well.